Vivek Ramaswamy has been incredibly pro-Israel since the war started. I mean, some people have said that he's anti-Israel because he wants to cut off U.S. aid in some cases, but a lot of that is because he wants Israeli independence, which I am very fond of. I think that Israel is a junkie and America is the drug dealer, and that Israel needs to get off its fix and become completely independent of any foreign entity. Check out this clip of him urging Israel to do what it needs to do.
Would love nothing more than for the IDF to put the heads of the top 100 Hamas leaders on stakes and line them up on the Israel-Gaza border as a sign that October 7th, 2023 will never happen again, and then to use all of those saved resources to build the border defenses of the future. But that is Israel's decision to make, not ours. That is what David Ben-Gurion would tell Israel to do. That is what George Washington would tell the United States to do.
That was short and strong from Vivek Ramaswamy. You know, he's urging Israel, do what you need to do. Don't consult with us, and, you know, get it done. Ignore the world, get it done. And Vivek Ramaswamy has been incredibly pro-Israel, so I would actually look into his actual view. His view is basically Israel has its own independence and Israel's sovereignty. Israel decides what it needs to do. Shouldn't even consult America, and he's 100%. I'm 100% in agreement with that position.
Vivek, there's a element of division on the conservative side with the way things are being handled with Israel. How are you processing that? When you know what I'm saying, right? With some people are like, well, you know, look at these guys. How many bodies, how many children and women is enough? And these are influencers that are going to vote for Trump, right? What do you say to them when there's a split on their opinions in this issue?
Well, look, I think especially when it comes to foreign policy, I think it shows with the modern Republican Party is definitely a big tent coalition, for sure. And I think that that's one of the things, even I talked about protectionism versus libertarianism, I would say the same thing with respect to foreign intervention versus conservatism on staying focused on domestic affairs. Donald Trump does a good job of bridging that divide. I'll say this is that, I'll tell you where I land. My view is that it is the job of every country to look after its own best national interest. And I think it would be hypocritical to say, on one hand, that we believe that America first should pursue America first policies, but that somehow Israel cannot pursue Israel first policies. Right? I think that Israel has, as a sovereign nation, the right and responsibility to defend itself to the fullest, just like we would if we had an attack on our own homeland of the same kind. So I think that you could argue the hypocrisy in a lot of different directions, but I think it would be hypocritical for us to say that we don't want the U.S. to intervene in foreign conflicts that don't directly affect the U.S., but we're going to be some sort of global arbiter of saying that here's what Israel can or cannot do. I think Israel should have the latitude to determine for itself what is the right way to defend itself. Now, there's a lot of debate in Israel about this. Keep in mind, you pointed out Bibi's approval rating. Yeah. There is a healthy level of debate. You've had members of his cabinet, including his war cabinet, resign over disagreements, right? Gantz was the most prominent, certainly. And so I think that is a debate that Israel gets to have for itself without the U.S. or any other country in the West tying its hands or tilting its scales. And I think that that's when a nation makes the best decisions for itself, where, back to your point, no man can serve two masters. Well, I think that applies to the leader of a nation. The master is the citizens of your nation, not some sort of international council determining what you can or cannot do. And so that's where I land on it, Patrick, is you could say that, okay, I don't want the U.S. troops to be used in this conflict. I think that is a principled position to say that we'll diplomatically support Israel. We don't think our troops should be involved here. But you can't at the same time say that, okay, we don't want our troops involved here, but then we're also going to pass moral judgment about what they're doing is or isn't the right way from a U.S. perspective. Because the principal perspective from an America First standpoint is Israel has the right to defend itself just like the United States would and will, God forbid, something like that happening here on our own homeland.
So here's the follow-up.
Great point by Vivek Ramaswamy. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can always support us by joining our channel memberships.